This week we studied a portion of Vaychi, which is the last portion in the book of Genesis. We read in this portion about the last few years of Yaakov and the blessings he gave each one of the 12 tribes, his sons. At the beginning of the portion, Yaakov is not feeling well, and Yosef brings his two sons, Ephraim and Menashe, asking his father Yaakov to bless the grandchildren, Ephraim and Menashe. Actually, the blessings Yaakov gave Ephraim is a famous blessings that in many homes the tradition is for a father to bless his sons and daughters every Friday, and among the Chabad Hasidim we do this blessing at the eve of Yom Kippur, just at the onset, before Kol Nidrei. But before Yaakov blesses the two sons, he turned to Yosef and he says the following. It's in chapter 48, verse 5. I'm reading in English. And now your two sons, who were born to you in the land of Egypt, before I came to you here, in Egypt, will be counted as mine to receive a share in the land of Israel. Ephraim and Menashe will be mine, like Reuben and Shimon. He offers those two sons to be included as his own sons. When they will be entering the Holy Land, they will get their own share in the land. Also in the desert, they will have their own flag with unique colors, each one of the grandchildren, which was very unique. Many commentators ponder upon the extra words that Yaakov tells Yosef, and the words are Anoladim lecha be'eretz Mitzrayim, which were born to you in the land of Egypt, ad bo'i elecha Mitzrayma, before I arrived to you in Egypt. The commentators ask that when he wants to address those two grandchildren, he can tell Yosef, the two children that were born to you will be counted as my own sons. Why does he add the words ad bo'i elecha, that were born to you before I showed up here in Egypt, and they will be counted as my own sons? And among many answers, the Lubavitch Rebbe explains that this is, so to say, the reason why are they going to be blessed like my own sons. Yaakov turned to Yosef and says, before I came to you, there was no yeshiva, there was no Jewish day school, there was no cheder, and yet, even though they were born before I arrived and they lived in Egypt like Egyptians, yet they conducted themselves as Jewish people, acting in kindness, refraining from eating not kosher, keeping their Hebrew names, learning the Hebrew language, and studying all the Jewish tradition. And that's why they will be blessed and they will take share in the Holy Land, will have their unique flags in the desert because of all that happened before I arrived here. And I think the message that Yaakov is imparting upon us every time we read it is that we, instead of looking for the mentor, for the teacher, for the conditions to meet our expectations, we must realize that the obligation, and actually it's not just the obligation, it is the best way to prove that we are devoted to God, when we reach out and find ourselves the sources and find ourselves how to learn and how to gain more connection to God and follow Jewish tradition and perform more mitzvot, because those are more cherished by God rather than those that are done as part of a community where many are following the same. So for example, the mitzvah of Hanukkah, where everybody celebrates Hanukkah, at least majority of Jews, it is an easy mitzvah. But what about keeping kosher, at least, if not every day, at least some days of the week? What about keeping Shabbat at least once in a while, even though most people around the person are not yet keeping kosher or do not keep Shabbat? When we go out of our way to stick and follow the mitzvah, it is much greatly cherished by God. And as Yaakov is rewarding Yosef with his sons to receive double portion, two tribes will be counted, not as one. We hope that God will reward for every extra effort we put in a double way. I want to wish you all a very happy and good week.